Welcome to Upper Room Studios. This is the Road Home Podcast.
The voice from beyond.
Where's Billy?
He's with us in spirit, but not body.
Body's a stone's throw.
Here I am.
He's back here somewhere.
Behind the camera.
Anyway, Billy went behind the camera for just a moment because we're going to talk about a subject we believe would be more appropriate to have a feminine outlook. So, if you know what time of the year it is, the flowers are blooming, the allergies are flowing.
It's you.
This time, if you know what time of year it is, you'll know that it is Mother's Day time. So, let's say this past Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. We have to get our minds
As long as we keep the
because-
schedule the same as
because we time
come
travel
up.
somewhat. So I'm somewhere in the future and look much better than look right now. Okay, I'll keep that
a little
going.
bit older.
Okay, a little bit older than most was.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, we wanted to have a small discussion and say Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers, which I have one.
Same.
I have
Praise
one.
God.
I have one.
Praise God for that gift.
We have the same mother.
Yeah, so
All three of us.
all six of us.
All six of us.
But
yeah.
Three of us not here.
50% of us.
50% of us here. But we wanted to go back into the Bible and we want to talk about some of the biblical mothers and some of the way that they, God bless you, some of the ways that they were used by God
Allergies.
in their role as a mother. So, like we're going to go to the big ones. Let's start off with. Let's just hit the Mary. Okay, Mary, the mother of Jesus. So Mary is the one person in history that God looked upon, a physical human being, and said, "Hey, in my bodily form, I'm going to live in her for 9 months,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to allow her to birth me into the world." Now that's amazing. That God in the flesh said, "Hey."
Mary was the first one that God dwelt in.
The very first
Yeah.
one, the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't spiritually, it was physically,
Yeah.
which is the way he had been only spirit. And then he decided to manifest himself in a bodily form, as was prophesied, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and they'll call his name Jesus. And that was Mary. So that's the big one. And everybody, we kind of probably put a lot of focus on her sometimes. And we've heard it said Mary was the first one to carry the gospel. So technically she could be called the first evangelist. She carried the gospel in her womb. That's great. But also in the Old Testament, there's a lot of good mothers. But even, in this time period with Mary, Elizabeth, look at Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, that in her womb something crazy was going on too.
Yeah.
And God prophesied through Zechariah, all that good stuff. So that was good. But let's go back to the other mothers, okay? So
Eve, obviously.
Eve is called
The mother of
the
all.
mother.
mother of all living. So and we had a podcast on this a few weeks ago about how Eve is God's rescue plan. Like before sin entered into man, God gave us a way of escape. He promised Eve, he said, your seed will bruise the head of the serpent. And that did come to pass through Jesus. It was all a prophecy leading up to Jesus. And before sin entered the garden, God formed Eve and made her flesh. And Adam and Eve became one flesh. And that's how we all got here. But also, if you go on a little further, there are mentioned 4 mothers in Scripture that were all part of the same family, and we all came from those 4.
Sarah? Ruth?
No.
What?
Hang on a second.
Go back.
Wrong answer. Okay, 4 mothers.
From all those 4.
4 mothers that were all part of the same family that we all came from. Make another guess.
Rachel?
Oh, no.
Jed's got it. I see it. It's in his head. It's trying really hard.
Noah's Ark.
Noah's
Oh,
family.
Yeah.
So there was Mrs. Noah.
Mrs. Noah.
Mrs. Noah. Some have said her name was Karen. So Mrs. Noah, and then whoever Mrs. Shem was, and Mrs.
Ham.
Japheth, and Mrs. Ham was. So those are 4 mothers that we all can trace our roots back to. So if we want to go back through Ancestry.com and try and figure out from which side of that family we came from, there are people who have done diagrams. They've shown what parts of the world they went through.
Oh.
And so there was 4 mothers. We don't think about those 4 mothers a lot, but actually it's from Eve. Then after, all the mess goes on,
crazy.
then here we go to, there's Noah and his 3 daughter-in-laws and his wife, Karen. That's an extra biblical theory about Karen. But anyway.
That's not adding to. That's just a theory.
Or just a theory. But name some other mothers that, had biblical significance in the big story.
Well, I was saying Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
She was an old mother.
She didn't live in a shoe, but she was an old mother. And,
Well, if Abraham was the father of all, then Sarah must have been
yeah.
the mother.
Everybody called him Father Abraham, but nobody calls her Mother Sarah. She's like, she probably might not like that. I don't know. We'll ask her when we get to heaven.
Yeah.
Another mother in that same story would have been Hagar. That she kind of gets a bad rap, but the story goes that God sent an angel to speak to her and say, hey, I'm going to bless your son. I'm going to protect you, and he's going to be a mighty man, and he's going to do all these great things. And it did come to pass through Ishmael, and that's how we get a lot of different, the Arab nations of the world came through those bloodlines was because of that mother didn't kill her son.
Right.
Amazing. Because she had opportunity. It was kind of the whole thing was, I'm going to abandon him and leave him. And kill. But she got a word from an angel of the Lord and said, hey, we going to make it, boy.
Yeah.
They throwed us out of the house, but we're going to make it. And so she's a testament to a lot of single mothers who said, we can make it, So there's some more mothers. Let's go. All Old Testament is full of mothers.
Oh, yeah.
Shulamite woman.
The Shulamite woman who had the son that passed.
I'm thinking of the one that make me a little cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another good mother.
The first cupcake salesman.
Yeah.
Was her. Yeah. They made the first cupcakes. So
Gigi's Cupcakes. That's where it all got started.
Her name was Gigi, I guess. Gigi. They called her this woman. She's a widow woman, but actually her name was Gigi. So we don't know how much icing was on. Just a theory. And Mother's Day, I think if you come, we should have some
Yeah,
Gigi's
there'll
cupcakes.
probably be some Gigi's.
Usually that's the plan. So
if you didn't get one, we're sorry.
we're sorry. Yeah, we're sorry about that. May not have been time for it. So anyway, but there's mothers, and they play a significant role. And I think about one of the big ones is Moses' mother. And he's one person who he could say he kind of had 2 mothers. So one's real, one's not. But his real mother, who was the Hebrew mother, had foresight and understanding to hide him from the Egyptians. She weaved him a basket. The traffic. Told him, hey, we're going to put you in the water. We love you. See you later.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
But
We'll see you a little further down the road.
Like, we'll see y'all later. What caused you to do that? Could you do that? Like, he's going to die.
She had to have some amazing faith.
yeah.
Something
Yeah.
like that, yeah. Couldn't have been like, oh, I'm just going to let him float till he starves to death or drowns.
Yeah.
No. She says, I'm going to see you later. And she pushes him on. Miriam takes him out there. And then here, he's make sure he gets to the right way. And then he goes to his next mother's house.
Yeah.
And here's Pharaoh's daughter. And she picks him up out of the water and gives him his name, which is crazy.
What I always thought is weird about that story is that's what Pharaoh did. He threw all the babies into the river. And then what does, what's his mother's name? You said it earlier.
Jochebed.
Her. She puts him in a basket and floats him down the river.
Yeah. And she pitched it with in without, just as the ark was, same phrase.
Yeah.
Pitched with in without. Pitched it with pitch. And just like the ark, of safety for Noah.
Was saved by
him
water.
exactly kept him from the flood of the Nile.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
like, why didn't Pharaoh kill him? then? Like,
Yeah.
what made him?
He would know,
Right.
you'd
It's his daughter.
like, where'd this
Okay.
baby come from?
Yeah, but he couldn't. his little girl. He couldn't resist.
I guess so.
Yes.
Like whatever the princess wanted.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
whatever the princess. If you watch the VeggieTales version,
Yeah, that's what I have in my head right now.
I found a baby. Okay. But truth is, she had to be somewhat of an amazing mother too, in order to shield him from the wrath of the way Egypt was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A heathen. But he always knew he was like, I'm being raised by this one mother.
But I know I don't belong here.
I don't belong here.
Yeah.
And he gets to be nursed by his real mother,
Yeah.
which is an amazing
That's
thing.
amazing.
And that just sounds like something God would do.
Yeah.
Because he did
Right.
do it. But I mean, it just sounds like something God would do. That, hey, she's like, okay, I'm not going to get to bond with my child. Then God's like, no,
Just wait.
Hang on a second. Hey, you can't feed that baby. It's like God, like somebody's like, she got this baby. She's like, oh, I've got a baby. And then God's like whispering from heaven, you can't feed that baby. You know you can't. Who can I get to feed it? Is there anybody
Because
who
fact
can
check,
feed this baby?
they didn't have formula back then.
They didn't.
No.
Yeah, they didn't. Was that there was no Gerber or
Yeah.
what's the big formula names, whatever. They didn't have any of those. They had
Yeah.
nothing. It was simply he was going to die.
Right.
Yeah.
But the mother, and probably there would have been a lot of mothers available because of
Yeah,
the death
baby.
Right.
that
Yeah.
they were killing all these children. But actually, it was the mother. Hey,
Wow.
Miriam's like, I know somebody.
Yeah.
Hey, I know somebody. And he goes and he gets to be taken care of by his real mother while living in a house that was better than the one he was probably living in. And he grows up to be the lawgiver and the deliverer of the people. So that's a good mother
that's
story.
amazing.
That's a great mother story. Let's go back to the New Testament. I want to talk about a mother that she might not get a lot of attention, but there's actually two I want to talk about. And we know the disciples, right? So, John and James' mother.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
We don't.
Now, before you go any further, they were the sons of thunder,
The
right?
Sons of Thunder.
Do you think he said that because of their mother?
Ooh. It could.
How forward she was with
Maybe
Jesus.
she was
Yeah,
thunder.
Yeah.
I've heard it said about Zebedee. They said maybe Zebedee was thunder, but somehow don't see Zebedee being thunder.
She
She,
kind of
Right.
seemed a little pushy.
seemed a little bit like she
Right.
had, she's like, I know my boys are going to be great. She's
Yeah.
like, where are you going to be having them set in the kingdom?
Yeah.
Let's talk about my children's future.
Yeah.
These are great boys. I can see you've already taken to John. John is like a boy. He's my favorite. He's my baby.
Yeah.
Are you gonna where are they gonna be in your kingdom? I know you're king. So where's your kingdom and where are they gonna get this?
Where are they going to sit at?
And
Yeah.
Jesus is like, oh my!
We're going to call you Thunder.
Now I know why I called you Thunder. Okay, Sons of Thunder.
Again, theory.
Theory. Just disclaimer. But the truth is, he said, if they can do, he gave them a perfect answer that to just quiet this mother down. He gave the perfect answer. He said, if they can eat, and if they can drink the same cup I drink and be baptized with the same baptism I'm baptized with, he said they'll be able to. The least is the greatest in the kingdom. So hey, it's gonna be good. It's all gonna be good. It's like he was basically just it'll be okay. We'll get this took care of. It's like, oh, that's good. Phew. Did you hear? Jesus said that James and John were going to be the number 2 guys in the kingdom. Now, that's not what they said, but I can guarantee that was some kind of bragging thing
Yeah.
going on because
Have
Yeah.
you heard what my sons get to be?
my sons are going to get the
There was
baby.
She was
talk
really,
at the well.
She was really proud of
I'm
him.
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something like that. Another mother, which I want to talk about, is now we don't have her name completely. We don't know Peter's wife's name.
No.
His mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we know about her from Scripture?
She was sick.
She was sick. The second thing we know about her is she was healed.
Yeah.
Right.
So Jesus cared enough about a sick mother of not just one of his disciples' mother. It was his mother-in-law.
Yeah.
and it was enough to take care. Like he cared, just to show you the compassion of Jesus. He wasn't just out there trying to. I think that's what happens a lot of times when ministries get big and stuff. They're not so concerned about the personal things. They start trying to, we're trying to reach the masses. We're trying to reach the world. My message has got to get out. No, he still had, the time and the compassion. And, hey, I'm going to make time. We're going to go heal your mother-in-law. Now, we don't know how Peter felt about this. But I can guarantee you Peter's wife was excited.
Yeah.
Evidently, it was a relationship that was well known.
Yeah.
Here is Peter. I'm sure Jesus had been over to she may have made some good food for Jesus at some point.
Yeah.
That there was like, hey, I know this woman. And there's like the Bible's full of powerful women. But I think a lot of them don't have names, which is sad. But that's the way things go.
Oh, Ruth was a big mother.
She was a
a big mother. But
big mother.
for the bloodline of
Jesus. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Rahab.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rahab.
She was a specific mother, very specific in connection to the mother line, the lineage on the mother's, contribution there.
Yeah.
That there is a misfits in this family of God he has here. That Rahab was a harlot, and we won't go into what all that's about. But then Ruth, she was
A Moabitess.
a Moabitess, which is they were awful idolatrous people. And what are you happy about? He's grinning from ear to ear about something. He's excited.
Look silly with our headphones.
He's happy because he's with his mother.
Yeah, that's it. And if he gets away from his mother, well, then he's not happy. So he's just happy. Okay. Are you happy?
Yeah, yes.
He wants to dance.
You say mama?
Anyway, so there are the different mothers, especially in the Old Testament, that were contributing to the lineage of Jesus.
Yeah.
They all come from misfit places.
Yeah.
Number one, okay, Tamar.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a whole messed up situation. Yeah, I don't even want to go into because it's so messed up. It sounds like something that would happen on a soap opera.
Yeah.
But God took that and made the whole lineage of Judah, which is where we get Jesus come through Judah, and it's so awesome. There's a line of the tribe of Judah. So that mother Tamar, she had the twins, and God moved through that whole line. Not because it was perfect. I think he used it because it was imperfect, which is what he always took what looked horrible. Even in the case of Mary, he took what was scandalous
Yeah.
and looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it made no sense. But what do we always say?
What doesn't
doesn't
make
make
sense
makes kingdom.
That's the thing. Is that it causes the world to say, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
That's one of them why questions to ask God when we all get up to heaven. It's like, why would you take a unmarried young lady and do that?
Yeah.
Because God knows that ain't gonna look good.
No.
But he was going through the pure
Yeah.
route.
He was saying, it's the message of it. It's,
Yeah.
it's the message of the gospel. But he's saying, this, I come to make all things new.
Yes.
That what you perceive is not always what you perceive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that even if it's like, okay, I'm coming through a virgin, but his love was, even if she wasn't, that's like his perfect will is she's a virgin. She's pure.
Right.
But yet she was sinful.
Yeah.
Now that's controversial with some groups, but yeah.
Because the only sinless one was Jesus.
It's Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
What's so funny? So like Mary was a sinful person,
Yeah.
but her redemption was in her belly.
Yeah.
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 Just so fulfilling the prophecy.
Out of her belly came living water.
Yeah, living water. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
The line of Mary, did you know, is the son, the one who delivered, will soon deliver you?
Yeah.
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 I always
Yeah.
think that line.
Are you okay? It's making piggy noises. So like mothers are they have a unique role, but I don't think they realize, especially young mothers, because it kind of goes by fast, you know. They have babies, and then before long they have another baby. Then it's, you know, it kind of just goes on, you know. Then before they know it, okay, you're raising these kids, and then after. But I don't think they realize how big of a role they play in the spiritual development
Yes.
of the children. One of the big mothers in the Bible. Well, we keep saying the word phrase "big mothers." We're not trying to talk
One
about
of the notable,
size.
Yeah.
notable.
The notable.
It says the Shulamite
famous.
woman was a great woman. So,
Okay, not just the ones that are great with child,
Yeah.
but the ones that are, you know,
the good mothers.
The good mothers. Okay,
But it
one
does-
of them.
Every time it talks about it, says she was great with child.
Yeah. Okay, when you read the book of Proverbs and you read about King Lemuel, his mother was always telling him wisdom. And it says, this is the prophecy that was given to King Lemuel by his mother. And it goes on to talk about wisdom hath builded her house.
Yeah.
She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She's done all these great works. She's mingled her wine. She's done all, and then this woman ends up going all the way through. Then we come to a place called Proverbs 31 where everybody knows about that. It's stitched on every pillow and everything we know about. And it says, who can find a virtuous woman?
probably every young woman's conference has probably had that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably we're going to have a Proverbs 31 conference. Yeah. So I've heard it said. Now this is one of those singles things. If you listen to single stuff like I have, but it's weird stuff.
Yeah.
Man. There's not much
It's
out
not
there.
helpful.
There's not help. Here's what they say. They say, okay, if you want a Proverbs 31 woman, you better be a Proverbs 1 to 30 man. Like, okay, all right. But the truth is, most of that book is about a woman. Most of that book, which is really cool. It talks about wisdom, and it always likens her
To a woman.
to a woman.
Yeah.
And historians and theologians tell us that probably wisdom, and it says this is wisdom and understanding, it likens them to sisters.
Yeah.
That they're, they're sisters. And so it talks about that in the feminine. Patience is also in the feminine. So it's always in the feminine because it's that maternal attribute of the nurture
Yeah.
of what God will do through those things: wisdom, understanding, patience. It's maternal. It has that nurture aspect to it. But they tell us that probably it was always talking about this one woman. So when we get to Proverbs 31, and it begins to tell us about who can find a virtuous woman, her price is far above rubies, and all the things she does. She rises in the nighttime to do all this work, and then you can think about your mother, scrubbing floors while you're still you're in bed, or cooking meals for you, or cleaning and taking and going to the supermarket and the grocery store and buying. It says she goes and she gathers her stuff in and she brings it in. I mean, all of this is it's a
Goes
good
and picks up the click list.
goes and picks up goes to
gathers
Kroger.
clothes.
Yeah,
It talks about all the clothes. She does the clothes and
yeah. I mean,
paraphrasing there.
well, let
But
me just find it. I'll find it real quick.
she goes to the grocery store, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. So like we were talking about.
She's good with money.
Yeah.
Like it talks about how
She doesn't just.
she's not wasting.
Yeah, she's not wasteful. That's what it says. It goes on to say, the words King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. My son, what? And said, what the son of my womb and what the son of my vows. Give not strength unto women, nor thy ways to the Lord. So also this mother, throughout this whole book, is teaching this son what women to stay away from.
Yeah.
Talk about the strange woman. Talk
And
about
wily women.
and wicked city women.
Yeah.
So then in verse 10, it goes on to talk about who can find a virtuous woman? Her price is far above rubies. That doesn't mean she can be paid for.
Yeah.
Come on now. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her. That's a good place to be. So she's not the queen sitting on the throne. She's like, she's good. So that he have no need of spoil. Like she'll spoil him. She'll take care of him. And it says she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So, that's good too. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Ain't nobody saying, get up and do something. She's the one that's doing it. More likely, she's the one telling everybody to get up and do something. She is like the merchant ship. She bringeth food from afar. Y'all know where that's from. She been to Chick-fil-A or she bringing food from afar. She went to Kroger.
Yeah.
You know, she went to Walmart.
She went to Walmart's.
She went to Walmart's, Kroger's, Myers, whatever you got going on. She riseth also while it is yet night. So while it's still dark, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. Now, ladies, don't feel all condemned because you don't wake up before it's sunrise to feed everybody. This is coming from a different time, and this is just saying that they go before. You know, that's that care.
Yeah.
She goes before everybody else and says, hey,
Prepares.
let me prepare this for you.
Preparation.
Yeah, let me make this.
Yeah.
She considereth a field, and she buyeth it. What's that mean? She's good with business. She knows how to use money. She knows what's worth something. It says, with the fruit of her hands, she planteth a vineyard. So she's all the time growing things. She gathereth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle. What's that mean? She stays up late doing things and working on things. It's just like that's just what they do. It says her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. And I think about my grandma who used to always make sure that everybody had coats.
Yeah.
And that is part of that. It's like, you know.
She thought it was her job to go to the Goodwill and make sure we had
Everybody had
5
a-
coats apiece.
Yeah, you got to have a coat.
You know what that also could mean is making sure your children hear about Jesus, are covered in the blood.
Yeah. Yeah, it's clothed in scarlet. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not afraid of all this other stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that's good too. She maketh her coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Royal.
Yeah.
So that goes back to that Jesus thing there. Her husband is known in the gates. Why? Because she's always talking about him.
Saying, have y'all heard of my husband?
Look at my man. He's doing all this stuff. When he sitteth among the elders of the land, like everybody knows him because she talks about him. That's pretty good. That's good.
And y'all know women can talk. So
And women,
you're gonna get it
because
correct.
men don't as much, so they say. But anyway, she maketh fine linen and selleth it. So she's on Poshmark. And she's on Etsy. And she's getting ideas. And she delivereth girdles unto the merchant. She taking it to the Goodwill, y'all. She's done taking all this stuff can't nobody wear. Johnny can't wear this. Anybody, taking it back to
She
the Goodwill.
declutters.
She's
Yeah.
making sure she's
Yeah,
got a good
honoring.
strength and honor are her clothing. Yeah. And she shall rejoice in time to come. She's like, man, I got a deal on that. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is, right? Look what I got. I only spent $5 on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is where you women get your thrifting. This is where our mama gets thrifting from.
Yeah.
It comes straight from Proverbs 31. Okay. She looketh. Well, hang on. I missed one. Yeah. She openeth her mouth with wisdom. Okay. And in her tongue is the law of kindness. So there's a sweetness to it. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. So she doesn't just stuff her face all the time. She's taking care of everybody. Her children arise and call her blessed. And that's what we're doing today with all our mothers.
Yes.
And we say, you're blessed. Her husband also, he says, you're blessed too. But her kids evidently say it before he does. And he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. And that is the Proverbs 31 woman. And it's not, everybody's like, oh, it's so hard to achieve. Actually, it's not. It's just like you live according to this book right here.
Yeah.
Get yourself born again and live right and love each other. And you're just looking at a Christian woman. That's a Christian woman.
Yeah.
And literally every mother in my life does those things. Like grandmothers
Yeah.
and mother. That is it. That epitomizes it. Because like even down to the thrifting thing. Now I think that's real.
Yeah.
It happens. So yeah. So like the Proverbs 31 woman, like, y'all aspire to be one. But, like, know that that's not just like, oh, men are looking for a Proverbs 31 woman. No, listen, this is not just a special person. Here is what this, according to historians, Proverbs 31 is written about what famous mother? This is your trivia. She's been mentioned here today, but yeah.
Oh, we've mentioned a lot of them.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you a this is in the family, okay? Possibly, the historians say it was. It's funny. Historians say this possibly was speaking about Ruth.
Okay.
And so all of these things, especially when it talks about the field and the vineyard she plants, because that was her, she was used to that. It's the kind of work she was doing.
Yeah.
So that was part of her thing. So Proverbs 31, there's your fun fact for Mother's Day and all this. This is probably talking about Ruth. So that's pretty neat.
That's cool. Yeah.
Any other mother stories in the Bible? Biblical mothers.
In the book of Moses.
Samson's mother.
Samson's mother made the vow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what we know about her, other than he invited him to the wedding and they didn't really like the woman he was married.
Samuel's mother.
Hannah.
Hannah, yeah.
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 Oh, yeah. Hannah's a good mother because it says that she was praying and she got to praying so much that they thought she was a drunk woman.
Yeah.
And Eli looked at her and he said, "Woman, why are you in your wine?
Yeah.
Why you been into the wine?" And she says, "I haven't been into wine." She said,
She's been in the cooking, Sherry.
"Give me children lest I die."
Yeah.
She-
She longed to be a mother.
Yeah. And there's a lot of mothers.
Yes.
There's a lot of mothers in the Bible who were barren before they became mother.
Yes.
And God moved upon them.
Yes.
Yep.
And so he gives them that divine purpose because there's something inside a mother that says, I gotta have that. I gotta have that.
It's instinct.
Yeah.
It's the nature of woman.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm trying there's a few I know there's a good one we're missing. I know there's a good one we're missing. Sarah, we talked about Sarah. We talked about Noah's wife, Karen. we talked about
Rebecca and Rachel.
Rebecca was the mother of
And
Jacob.
Jacob and Esau.
So Rebecca was a bit deceitful because she got Jacob to act like his brother. That was the first time.
I always wondered why she favored one over the other.
I don't know. He must have been prettier. And then Rachel comes along,
Yeah,
and then
Rachel.
she was barren for a while. Then Leah. Leah was she had the most babies, but
Yeah.
her name means soft eyes or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Like she couldn't see good.
some people say it means she wasn't pretty. I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
Rachel was the one that was fair to look upon. Now, see, that's funny because biblical language. Let me just say this before we had to go. So, in biblical language, it says if somebody was pretty, it says they were fair to look upon. Today, if you say somebody how they look, fair.
Yeah, like mediocre.
nice.
So.
Yeah.
There's another one, and I noticed this, and I caught myself funny. If you see somebody that says, okay, here's Becca. Somebody look at her, they say, "Oh, she's a pretty young lady." Okay, remove the word young, add old. Now,
Pretty old
say,
lady.
that's a pretty old lady.
Which means old.
We're not sure how to take that.
Like
So be
very
careful.
old.
Be careful where you place your pretty. But anyway, so happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
And the one who made this one a mother, he's getting a little rowdy. So we say happy Mother's Day. We rise up and call our mothers blessed.
Yes.
Mom, you're blessed.
Okay. All righty. With that being said, we'll see y'all further down the road.
Holding is
Hold it's done, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. If you like to watch us, you can find us on The Road Home on YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. You can check us out on Instagram at the roadhome_podcast. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at the roadhomepodcast@yahoo.com. Thank you.